Hi, this is Scott Siskin. I'm the president of First Republic Mortgage Bankers. When you need a mortgage, call First Republic Mortgage Bankers and deal direct. Eliminate the middleman. No mortgage broker fees. Stop wasting your hard-earned money on your high-rate mortgage and your credit cards. You can save every single month by refinancing. You personally can save every month by locking in the lowest rates in over 30 years. And we make house calls to the entire tri-state area 7 days a week. Call 718-380-0006 if you're buying a home or you want to refinance your home. 718-380-0006.
And here's another area through which you're going to get some serious help. Let's say you're 62 years old and more. All right? You need to understand more about what can happen from there on. Can you do something advantageous like getting some lump sum money, getting a check every month? Well, I'll tell you what, I personally don't know enough about this area. Tom knows a lot about this area. He's on the radio in a few seconds. Scott Siskin knows a lot about this area because he's the one responsible for putting it together at First Republic Mortgage Bankers. Now, I want everyone to completely understand every part of this area because it can be misconstrued. You can get a wrong conception on it. I don't want you to do that. So right now, Scott Siskin, I'm going to ask you to handle what's called a reverse mortgage right here with Tom, who is physically at First Republic Mortgage Bankers.
Tom, how are you today?
Fine. How are you?
I'm doing good. You know, the reverse mortgage program is very much misunderstood, and because you don't make payments on it, it actually pays you. And I'm just going to give a couple of quick examples that we have in the Caribbean Link newspaper and ask you to get into some more detail. But the idea, folks, is if you're a senior, maybe, let's say if you were 65 or 70 years old, I can give you two examples. The idea is that you can get a lump sum or get a check every month for the rest of your life, or somewhere in between. You can get some money up front and some money every single month. It all depends upon what your needs are. But imagine being able to get money to pay off your existing mortgage, pay off your credit cards. You have no more mortgage, no more credit card debt, and you're going to get some type of a payment every single month. I'm looking at an example, Tom, where if someone's 70 years old, they can choose between $207,000 lump sum, or they can get a monthly check for life for $1,326. And why don't you explain what happens when it's in between?
Well, we will give a hypothetical situation here. We have a 70-year-old senior amongst us that owns a home, and they have full equity in this situation. In other words, they don't have an existing mortgage. But they might be struggling a little. Maybe they don't have enough money coming in every month from their Social Security check or what have you. We could, as you just mentioned, put $207,000 into their hands or give them a check every month for approximately $1,326. But we could also split the difference in half. We could give them a little over $100,000 in cash if they needed it, and then the monthly payment would be roughly half of that $1,326, which would be about $675 a month. There are many ways that we can do this, Scott, but you know the most important and prevalent thing that that our listeners understand is that once you pay off those credit cards and you pay off whatever it is that you owe at these outrageously high interest rates that they're paying, they're going to have that much more cash at hand that they don't have to send a check in for every month. And this is the most important thing, I think, that people in all the years I'm doing this feel relieved, and they know that their home is theirs for as long as they're alive. As long as they're alive and living in that home, they never have to make a payment, and of course they still retain the ownership and the title to their home.
Now, of course, you know, some people's concern, because I've talked to some seniors, and the misinformation is that after they're gone, the house is just turned over to the bank, and that's not the case.
No, it's the biggest misconception, or one of the biggest, unfortunately, to people here. And the fact of the matter is that this is a transaction where they're borrowing money, and the only obligation that they have, themselves or their family has, which is commonly known as their estate if they pass away, is to clear that mortgage up. The reverse mortgage has to be cleared up because they would no longer be able to hold it, of course. but their family can come back to First Republic and say, look, my father passed away. His house is worth $500,000. This reverse mortgage has a $150,000 debt in it, and Scott Siskind and the team at First Republic will refinance that house if they want to keep it. If they want to sell it, they just have to pay that debt at the table, and they walk away with the difference. That's what equity is. A lot of people don't understand that word. But in that hypothetical, if that house was sold for $500,000 and the debt on the reverse mortgage was $150,000, that family, in that instance, would retain $350,000 when they walked away.
So in a way, it's very similar to most mortgages in that if you're going to pay it off, let's say somebody decides they're going to refinance and pay it off, or before they pass away, or they keep it until they pass away, they're only going to have a lien for the house that's equal to, and a payoff equal to the monies they've actually received plus interest.
Yes, plus the interest that would accumulate. And another thing that's little known about this mortgage, this government mortgage, is if the senior does want to, if they choose to, they can send money in every month and keep the debt from keeping on going up. But we found that most seniors need this money, and this is where the important thing is that they don't have to send in a check every month.
And the thing is that New York City is reassessing properties now. Now that there's been a lot of properties that are selling for big money, I've heard of two families with taxes of $5,800 a year, and you never used to see anything more than about $1,000 to $1,200. So what's going to happen is you're going to start seeing seniors who've been used to paying $1,000 a month, whether they're living in Queens, Brooklyn, Bronx, Staten Island, wherever, and their taxes are going to go up. At this point, they're just getting by with their Social Security check. And the amazing thing is that if they were to choose just to get the check, let's say, at age 70, they would be getting $1,326. Now, I've done a lot of mortgages over the years, and I also helped my grandmother. She lived till 98 and a half, and she started out at $400 a month Social Security. She ended up about $1,300 a month, and the weird thing was that was too much money for her to get on Medicaid. She can only be on Medicare. So I'm very familiar with the dynamics of what goes on. I'm also familiar with the fact that if somebody can, get that extra money, it's like doubling maybe their cash flow.
Well, it is, Scott, and what happens all too often that I've found is that very, very often we have a 70, 72, 75-year-old woman whose husband had recently passed away, and that woman is only getting one check. She may get a little bigger check because her husband had a higher Social Security, but most of her expenses, as you just mentioned, her taxes and everything else, haven't gone down. It costs just as much to heat the house. So they find themselves in a jam, a lot of these women especially, and this is a big, big, big help to them. And another thing that an awful lot of seniors are in need of, unfortunately, is health care. And a lot of families, the younger people who are listening to us today, they may have aunts, uncles, grandmothers, mothers who are in a situation where they're in their home and they really need a caregiver. And the point is that this is another way to get some money to be able to keep mom in her house, or dad, or both of them, without having to worry about them going into a nursing home and hire a caregiver. That's why we encourage, here at First Republic, we encourage a phone call so that I can evaluate.
And Tom, you're available basically 24/7 practically.
Absolutely. If anyone calls me and you just happen to hear me say, please leave your name and phone number, please understand I'm probably on the phone with someone else, but you will get a call back very quickly, and you'll get a personal interview from me, and I will tell you everything. If I can help you, I will.
Now, his number is 718-380-0006. His extension is 396. It's a very dynamic program that's available. Again, this is another government-backed program, FHA HUD program, that we're so proud to be able to offer to senior citizens.